So our next topic is data forwarding scenario. So data forwarding scenario, that means how our data forward over the network. How the data forward over the network, whether it's voice-based data or whether it is text-based data. So whenever we are talking about the voice-based data, so in today's scenario, voice divided into the packets and sent to the network. Because whenever we are talking about the video lecture or audio conversations, on that time we no need any kind of delay. So that means we have to check our connection where there is no delay. So this is a basic scenario for the introduction, where we are having two routers, router RTA1 and RTA2. So, in the case of data forwarding, can be collectively defined as either whether it is local or remotely, for which the forwarding process get a release on the applications of the protocol stack in order to achieve end-to-end transmission. Because whenever we are talking about the TCP connection, that means we are talking about the end-to-end communication. So, end system may be the part of the same network, whether that is from same network or whether that is from the different network. So basic scenario, this scenario that tells me we are having two different networks, RTA and RT2. Suppose host A want to communication with host server A. They first send the hello packet to the router 1, then router 1 send the hello packet to the router 2, which is router B. Then router B uh, check the destination IP or plus MAC address of the destination. It's the MAC address that belongs from the server A, and the packet goes to the server A, that hello packet. Then server A then get reply back to the host A. So this is called end-to-end communication. So this is the path discovery. So an end system that intended to forward data to the given destination, that must initially determine whether or not it is possible to reach the intended destination. So in order to achieve this, the end system must go through a process of path discovery. So the end system that should be understood to be capable of supporting operation at all layers, since its primary function is as host to applications. So in the relation of this, it must be capable to supporting lower layer operations such as routing and link layer forwarding. So the basic function of the path discovery, that means because whenever we are talking about the layer 3 protocol, so this is an example of layer 3 protocol where we are having switch can only forward data in layer 2, but in the case of routers that work in a layer 3. So host A, they are having the routing table. So routing table, that they first they will check routing table. If the entry of server A, if the entry of server A is already exist in the routing table, we cannot broadcast the data, because whenever we are talking about the broadcasting, so that means our packet get broadcast, or whenever we are talking about the broadcast, that means our destination's MAC address is missing. That means host A don't know the MAC address of the server A. So in this case, the default 000.00/0, that is a default network route, and gateway. So need of the gateway, whenever we are talking about the two different network, on that time we have to know about, and we have to enter the gateway address. because we are talking about the two different networks. But when we are communicating with two different networks, on that time we have to need to assign the gateway address to the network. So that is the basic purpose of the gateway address. So next is ARP. So that means ARP that uh, tells the following discovery of the physical route, that tells the physical route that forward the intended destination network. So basically, a physical next hop must also be discovered or facilitate frame forwarding. So the TCP protocol that's responsible for determining this before packaging transformation, because we already studied encapsulation method, encapsulation and de-encapsulation. The initial step to involve determine whether a physical path exists to the next hop that identify a part of the path discovery process. So this requires that the ARP cache table be to identify whether the association between the intended next hop and the physical path is known. That means ARP cache table that check whether our destination's MAC address entry is already exists in the cache table. From the example, it can be seen that an entry to the next of gateway address is present in the ARP cache table. When an entry cannot be found, the address resolution protocol, that is ARP, must be initiated to perform the discovery and resolve the physical path. So next is TCP encapsulation. So TCP encapsulation, that once the ARP cache table has been done, then the TCP encapsulation happens. So that means I have all information like source port number, source destination port number, sequence number, acknowledgement number. So when the both logical and physical path data forwarding is completed, so it is possible for encapsulation of data to be performed for successful transformation. In the case of IP, whether we are talking about IP, whether we are talking about the Ethernet-based network. So upper layer process in terms of encryption and compression may be performed following which transport layer encapsulation will occur. In this case, that identify the source and destination port via the upper layer, data should be forwarded. So in the case of TCP, the sequence and acknowledgement field will be check the code bit set as necessary with the acknowledgement bit that is commonly applied. So the window field, will be populated with the current support window size, that is to which the host will notify of the maximum data forwarding, or we can say that data buffering that can be supported before data is acknowledgement. So next is IP encapsulation. So when we are talking about the IP encapsulation, that means once the TCP encapsulation done, then IP encapsulation layer C work. So in the given following transport layer encapsulation, it is generally required that instruction be provided detailing how transformation over one or more network is to be achieved. So this involves listing the IP source as well as the ultimate destination for which the packet is intended. So IP packet is generally limited to the size of 1500 bytes by Ethernet. So in the case of that, to change the following path only, then will fragmentation will be performed. The TTL field will be populated with the set of value that depends upon the system. So I am going to tell the what is the basic purpose for assigning the MAC address or ARP cache to the destination. So suppose we are having suppose we are having four switches. Four switches, that means if they are connected with each other, not S1 directly but to the S4. Suppose in switch S1 there is source A, and in switch S4 there is host B. Suppose host A wants to communicate with host B. They send hello packet to switch 1, and switch 1 they check first their MAC table, MAC entry. Yeah, MAC entry for the switch 1. If the MAC entry is available for host B, then destination directly communicated with the host B. If MAC entry is not available in the cache table of switch 1, so this code is visible to. Okay. Suppose host A wants to communicate with host B. They first send hello packet because when we are using print command. So what is the purpose of print command? That means we are sending a hello packet to the destination. So in the case of print command, uh, can anybody tell me what protocol used for print command? Can anybody just raise your hand? You know what is the protocol behind the print command? Anyone? Just raise your hand.
Akash to proof.
Akash.
ICMP.
We are sending print command to the destination. So इसके backend में जो protocol काम कर रहा है, that is ICMP. ICMP for print command and ICMP for trace route command. जो हमने already last practical में की थी, what is the use of trace route command. So whenever we are sending print command to the destination, that means we are first sending hello request, hello packet. Let's send to switch 1. Then switch 1 first check the cache table entry. If the cache table entry is available or entry is already existing in the switch 1 for host B, then they directly packet transfer to the host B. If MAC entry, MAC table entry is MAC address is not available in the case of switch 1, so then they broadcast the data. Why broadcast? Because switch का जो basic behavior है switch.
Hello.
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 Hello. Hello.
Hello.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर. जी सर, उसको इसे सर एक बार रिपीट कर दो.
सारा प्रोसेस.
यस सर. वो सर डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया सर, नेटवर्क का प्रॉब्लम.
सो जो हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे हैं बेसिक बिहेवियर ऑफ स्विच. इस स्विच का बेसिक बिहेवियर क्या है? व्हाट इज द नीड ऑफ कैशे टेबल? Why we are checking cache table entry again and again? So basic purpose of cache table entry. So that means in that case, why we are checking cache table's MAC entry? Because if the MAC don't exist, if MAC don't exist in the switch 1, So they by default use FFF, FFF as a MAC address. So this MAC FFF MAC address, that is for broadcast the packet. They broadcast the packet to all the switches. Why? Because switch का जो basic behavior है, that is to broadcast the packet. वो data को broadcast करेगा switch. ठीक है? ये basic behavior of switch है. So ये जो basic behavior, that means all the switches are connected S1 with S2, S2 with S4, S4 S3. So that becomes a loop. So that becomes a loop. And how we can block the loop with the help of different codes. We can block some certain codes, those who are creating the loop. So if host A wants to communicate with host B, they first send hello packet to the switch 1, and switch 1 check our cache table entry. Cache table, they are checking the MAC entry for the destination. If the MAC entry is available, then the packet directly goes to the host B. Otherwise, packet that goes to each and every switch. Suppose here we are having host C, host D. So packet delivered to all the switches as well as of all the hosts. So that is the basic behavior of a switch. So next is Ethernet framing. So Ethernet framing, that means we are talking about the physical path of the destination, and this is a link layer encapsulation, that is we already discussed IEEE standard. That is, can anybody tell me what is the IEEE standard for Ethernet cable? Anyone? Just raise your hand. Would you know about the IEEE standard for Ethernet? Yes, Rajat.
Sir, 802.3.
बिल्कुल ठीक, 802.3. And for Wi-Fi?
Sir, 11.
बिल्कुल ठीक है. So IEEE 802.3 for Ethernet, and IEEE 802.11 for wireless network. So in this case, when we are talking about the Ethernet framing, that means we are using the IEEE 802.3 Ethernet standard for physical transformation for upper layer data over the internet network. So in this case, encapsulation at the lower layer is performed by initially determining the frame type that is used. So where the upper layer protocol is represented by the type value that is greater than 1536, as the case of with the IP address of Ethernet frame that is adopted. So the destination MAC address that determine the next physical hop. So this Ethernet framing that contains the destination MAC address, destination source MAC address, and type field. So so that means we have to know about the source MAC address as well as the destination MAC address. So the Ethernet framing, that type field shows the next layer protocol. In this case of type field, that shows the next layer protocol. Once the process done, then data goes to the physical layer. So that convert data into the physical medium, physical path, that is 0 and 1's form. So next is frame forwarding. So frame forwarding that is once the process done, then data goes to the physical layer, and the physical layer that convert data into the binary format. So binary format, you will already know about the binary data in the form of zeros and ones. So, but if you are using switch, there will be no carrier sense. So, as a part of the link layer operations, it is ensured that the transmission medium is clear to signals is shared console domains. So the host will first listen for the traffic on the network as well as the CSMA, carrier sense multiple access, that check the code division, the error checksum, and should the line remain clear. So that will prepare the transfer data. So it is necessary for the receiving physical interface to be made aware of the incoming frame so as to avoid loss of initial bit values that would render initial frames as incomplete. So frame are therefore you can say that it proceeded by the by a 64-bit value indicating to the link layer destination of the frame. So the initial 56 bit represent as alternating ones and zeros. Ones and zeros pattern is called the preamble and is followed immediately by the octet understood as the start of frame delimiter. So the final 2 bit of start frame delimiter that divert from the alternative pattern to a 1 and 1. So that bit is the combination that notify that the bits that follow represent the bits value, the destination MAC address, and therefore the start of the frame headers. So this is the basic purpose of SFD. So in the case of SFD, that means we are talking about the start of frame delimiters. The start of frame delimiter, that is, we can say that just start from 1 and zeros. So next is frame processing. So once this frame sent by the host A to the host B, as shown in the given diagram, we are sending packet host A. Suppose host A want to communicate with host B. We are sending packet through router that is RTA router. So in this case, first check FCS. If the error occurs, then the entry frame would be deleted or discarded. So as the frame is received by the link layer destination, it must go through a number of checks. Number of checks that is determine its integrity as well as the validity of the frame. If the frame was transmitted over the shared Ethernet network, then other end station may also receive the we can say that the frame transmitted. However, since the frame destination MAC address is different from the MAC address of the end station, so the frame will be discarded. So frames received at the intended destination will perform error checking by calculating the one's complement value that is based upon the current frame field and compare this against the value in the frame sequence. So if the value do not match, the frame will be discarded. Then receiving intermediate and send system that receive valid frame that will need to determine whether the frame is intended for their physical interface. That by comparing the destination MAC address with the help of the MAC address of the interface and device in some cases. So next is packet processing. So packet processing now RTA will check first MAC address. If found, then frame sent to the IP address. That all depends upon the routing table. Then packet are received on the other end and receive both end server A and server B, but only server A receive the server A and server B discard. Both check the first MAC entry. In the case of uh, in the case of example, in the case of same example, again if host A, again if host A send a packet to host A, suppose it is so in this so in this example, if we are talking about host A, it wants to communicate with host, suppose B. If host A wants to communicate with host B, then host A first send the request to the RTA. Then RTA check their MAC address, MAC entry table. Then if MAC table is exist, addresses exist, they directly forward to the host A. But it also can share this hello packet, with the RTB. But RTB discard the packet. Why they discard the packet? Because the MAC entry, or you can say that IP address of the destination is not belong from this router B. Then RTA forward hello packet to host B as well as the router B. But router B that discard the packet, and host B it receive the hello packet. So this is a basic scenario or basic behavior of the switch, or we can say that the router. So in the case of packet processing, now the RTA will be checked first MAC address. If found, then frame sent to the IP header. Well, that is all depends upon the routing table that we are already discussing the example. So next is frame de-encapsulation. So the frame de-encapsulation, that means frame received at the ultimate destination will initially determine whether the frame has arrived at the intended location. So the example shows two server on a shared Ethernet network over which both receive a copy of the frame. Suppose in the given picture, given image, that router B, RTB, can send the frame to the same network, and server A and server B, they both receive the frame. So since the destination, the frame ultimately discovered by the discarded by the server B, since the destination MAC address value and the interface MAC address of server B do not match, So server A, however, successfully received the frame and learn that the MAC address field are the same. The integrity of the frame that is based upon the FCS can also be understood to be it's correct. So the frame will be used the type field of identify this field. That is given field like type 0x0800. So as the next header, that following with the frame header, that trail discarded the packet is received by the IP address. So again, that means whenever we are sending packet to the destination, and the destination they are having a single network. In that single network, they are having number of servers or number of systems. So on that time, data or packet or frame that is forward to all the servers, or the servers as well as the or the host. And all the servers they check first their IP address and MAC address. If the MAC address is same, then they open the packet. Otherwise, they will discard the packet. So next is packet de-encapsulation. So upon reaching the you can say that ultimate destination, the IP packet header must facilitate a number of processes. So number of processes, that means the first includes validation of integrity of the packet header that through the checksum field. Then again apply a once complement value, that is comparison based upon the sum of the IP address field. So where correct the IP header will be used to determine whether the destination IP address match and IP address of the current end stations, which in this case of true. We already discussed IP header packet. So if any fragmentation that occur during transformation, so between source and the destination, the packet must be reassembled at this point. So the destination field will collect the fragments that belongs to a single data source target. That offset will determine the order of the flag field that will specify when the assembly should commerce. Since the fragmentation must be received, firstly the flag value is 0, that will recognize the as last fragment that to be received. So next is segment de-encapsulation. So segment de-encapsulation, now the layer code that is de-encapsulation all the source port number and destination port number. So this is the way to send data to host A and server A. So that means when we are talking about the segment de-encapsulation, so that means in the case where the packet header is discarded, if the packet header is discarded, the resulting segment or datagram is passed to the transport layer before applying application to application bit processing. So the header information is received in the case of TCP. In the example, it can be understood that the TCP connection has already been established, and the segment that represent an acknowledgement for the transmission of HTTP traffic for the HTTP server, that is to the acknowledgement of the host. So the host is represented at the port number of 1027. That is the source port number as a mean to distinguish between multiple HTTP connections that may exist between the same source host and destination server. In receiving this acknowledgement, the HTTP server that will continue to the forward of host within the boundary of window size, that is depends upon the host. So that is the basic purpose of using the segment encapsulation. So next is some, you can say that it's pool question or as well as the so first I will send the pool question for first, then we will discuss these questions. going to launch the first pool question. Question is an administrator wishes to manage the router in the root branch office. Which method can be used? We are having four methods, that is telnet, FTP, console connection, and DHCP. Before attempting, must read question twice. An administrator wishes to manage the router in the remote branch office. Which method can be used? Last 20 seconds. I'm going to end the poll. Basically, it's a theory-based question. Why you are taking so much time? I'm going to end the poll. I'm going to show the result. So it's easy question. You have to attempt this question within 1 minute. You are taking approx 3 minutes. The question is: an administrator wishes to manage a router in the remote branch office. Whenever we are talking about the remote login, that means we are talking about the telnet. So try to read question twice, then attempt करो उसके बाद. बिना पढ़े क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट मत करो. ये ना हो कि ये रिफ्लेक्ट आपके होने हैं मार्क्स में, तो ये ना हो कि आपके मार्क्स कम हो जाए. Now I'm going to stop sharing result. So question regarding for this topic, data forwarding scenario. So first question is: what information is required before data can be encapsulated? तनवीर कौन? अनम्यूट करो तनवीर.
Hello.
Tanveer, what information is required before data can be encapsulated? नहीं पता. ठीक है. उज्जवल, उज्जवल अनम्यूट करो. वो विद इन 10 सेकंड रिप्लाई नहीं करेगा, उसकी एब्सेंट है.
Hello.
Ujjwal, what is the answer for first question? What information is required before data can be encapsulated?
MAC address है.
मैक एड्रेस क्या करेगा? मैक एड्रेस को हम लोग डेटा इनकैप्सुलेशन कर रहे हैं. The answer for first question is that is prior the encapsulation and forwarding of data, that source must have a knowledge of IP destination, or we can say that evaluating forwarding data address such as default address. In short, first question answer is destination IP address, gateway address, as well as the destinations or IP route or MAC address. This is the answer for first question. What about second question? What happens when a frame is forwarded to the destination to which it is not intended? What happens when a frame is forwarded to the destination to which it is not intended? Yes, Rohit Prasad.
सर ब्रॉडकास्ट होगा.
ब्रॉडकास्ट होगा तो बट होगा क्या? अब देखो क्वेश्चन क्या है, ध्यान से. व्हाट हैपेंड व्हेन द फ्रेम इज फॉरवर्डेड टू द डेस्टिनेशन, सपोज तेरे पास पहुंच गया बट विच इज नॉट इंटेंडेड, वो तेरे लिए नहीं है,
डिस्कार्ड हो जाएगा.
यस, ठीक है. तो आंसर इज इट विल डिस्कार्ड. सो थर्ड क्वेश्चन इज हाउ डज द डेटा इन द फ्रेम ultimately reach the application it is intended for? Who will tell the answer? How does the data in the frame ultimately reach the application it is intended for? Yes, Akash.
होस्ट से पैकेट राउटर पर जाएगा, फिर राउटर से मतलब उसका कैश टेबल में मैक एड्रेस चेक करके, तो वो अगर उसके कैश में होगा डेस्टिनेशन का मैक एड्रेस, तो डेटा उस पर सेंड हो जाएगा.
चलो ठीक है, ठीक है, तो ठीक है. दैट मीन्स आंसर इज इंफॉर्मेशन इन द फ्रेम जो आपके पास रिसीव होगी, जो इंफॉर्मेशन इन द फ्रेम दैट इज सोर्स मैक एड्रेस, destination IP address, MAC address, that is layer by layer process. So what about the fourth question? When multiple sessions of the same application are active, example multiple web browsers, how does the return data reach the correct session? When multiple sessions of the same application are active, for example, multiple web browsers, how does the return data reach the correct session? Simranji 376. Sumit 466.
हेलो.
हाँ जी सुमित.
यस सर.
सर वो क्या आंसर होगा सुमित? When multiple sessions of the same application are active, एग्जाम्पल आपके सामने है कि आपने एक सिंगल ब्राउजर के ऊपर मल्टीपल ब्राउजर खोल रहे हो, then what does the return data reach the correct session? कहाँ कैसे पहुंचेगा, क्या चेक होगा?
सर आईपी एड्रेस ही चेक होगा.
Answer is your port numbers. They first check the source port number, destination port number.
आईपी एड्रेस बाद में चेक होगा सर.
पहले पोर्ट चेक हो जाएगा ना. देखो आपने डायरेक्टली ब्राउजर से चला ही लिया, आपने ब्राउजर ओपन कर लिया है. क्वेश्चन आपके पास यही है कि व्हेन मल्टीपल सेशन ऑफ द सेम एप्लीकेशन आर एक्टिव, मल्टीपल ब्राउजर्स आपके पास ओपन है, दैट मींस उस केस में क्या चेक होगा आपका? सबसे पहले सोर्स पोर्ट नंबर. ठीक है, तो इन शॉर्ट
मल्टीपल वेब ब्राउजर जैसे इंटरनेट
एक्सप्लोरर भी खुला है और क्रोम भी खुला हुआ
भी
है
खोला है, मोजिला खोला है आपने,
लाइक दिस।
ठीक है, हाँ वही
मोजिला
चीज,
खुला है, फायरफॉक्स खुला है।
कुछ भी खोला है तो सबसे पहले आपका सोर्स
ओके
पोर्ट नंबर चेक हो, ठीक है।
ओके सर।
सो नेक्स्ट टॉपिक इज navigation, navigating the CLI. Navigating the CLI, that means we are talking about the implementation of the Huawei devices, how we can configure all the commands. So that tells the implementation of Huawei devices in an enterprise network that requires a level of knowledge, capability, capability in the navigation of VRP. So VRP, what does it mean? That means we are talking about the versatile routing platform. So that is the full form of VRP. That is based upon the command line interface and configure the system settings. So in our previous lecture, we configured two systems configurations.
हेलो
That time we are just
हेलो
assigning
सर।
IP address. Hello?
हेलो
Yes,
सर, बीआरपी का फुल फॉर्म क्या बताऊं?
VRP है versatile routing platform. VRP, that stands for versatile routing platform. That is the command and interface and how we can configure the system settings. System settings means how we can configure the ports, how we can active the ports, how we can deactivate the port, how we can open the different VLANs, virtual LAN, how we can create virtual LAN, how we can create STP, how we can configure OSPF, how we can configure RSTP. So these are the commands under this CLI based navigation. So whenever we start our ENSP software, so a device, either router and or switch, it will show the status of all the memory start, and it will show the status of the all memory, and also show the path where your VRP software plays. And that flash is default address, defaulted the screen view only when the start and close the window. So this screen only visible when you start and close the window. So when you will enter press Control B, then you will enter boot row window, but before ending the time. So first time it will show the warning. First time it will show the warning that is auto configure is working. So before configuring the device, stop auto configure if you perform configuring system when auto configuration is running the DHCP, whether it is routing. So this what does it mean? Less than Huawei than greater than science. This line in command mode. That means that shows the first user view. That means we are in the user view mode. That means we cannot edit anything. Next is CLI command line views. Here we are having four views: user view, system view, interface view, and protocol views. So when you enter into the device, that is when you enter into the ENSP software, so first you are having user view. So user view means this part. User view, it tells the status of the device. You cannot change. Only you can check the, or we can say that send the ping command. Only ping command you can use in the case of user view. Then the second, it is in the user view the running status
हेलो
and step. Hello?
हेलो सर CLI का मतलब क्या है सर?
Command line interface here.
ओके सर.
आपको मैंने इंस्टॉलेशन तो बताई थी ना कि हाउ वी कैन इंस्टॉल ENSP. मैं आपको आज एक वीडियो भी शेयर कर दूंगा जिसमें इंस्टॉलेशन प्रोसेस ऑफ ENSP है. देन सेकंड एक और आपके साथ शेयर करूंगा वीडियो जिसमें कॉन्फ़िगरेशन ऑफ 2 और मोर पीसी है. देन थर्ड वन होगी जो आपकी जिसमें हम लोग ये सारे व्यू चेंज करेंगे फ्रॉम यूजर व्यू टू सिस्टम व्यू टू इंटरफेस व्यू, इंटरफेस व्यू टू प्रोटोकॉल व्यू, where we are directly configuring to the protocols, whether its protocol is OSP, whether it is protocol is RIP. Okay. Okay, CLI command line views, that is when we are in when we are entering in the command line interface. That means we have just started the ENSP software, and after starting the ENSP software, we drag and drop 2 or more switches. Then after double click over there are different so many options for command line or setting. So we are talking about the command line interface. So first is user view, where you cannot change anything, but you can check the status of the device. You can only use ping command over there. So second is system view. System view, that means we can set the parameters. We can set the parameters like IP address. We can configure interface. So basically it's a hierarchy. Command line hierarchy structure of ERP defines the number of command views. When we are talking about the interface view, that means we are configuring the interface parameter. Parameters means which port number is connected with which port number. So that means we have to configure each and every single port, those ports who are connected with the destination. So this is a interface node. This is the interface node. First one is a system view. System-view, that means we are entering into the system view. So now we are entering the system view. In system view, we just write interface gigabit Ethernet. You can just write INT, then press tab key. Automatically interface will be written. Then after interface, just press space key, then GIG, then again press tab key. Then gigabit internet will be visible. And 000/0/0 means it's your port number. Which port number is connected with which device. So after entering this 0/0/0, that means you are enter into the interface mode. So interface mode, that means you are configure the interface. Then after that, protocol. Protocol view, that means you are configure most routing protocols parameters. Whether its protocol is a RIP protocol, whether we can talking about the OSPF. So basically, it's complete diagram. That is the hierarchy command structure of VRP that defines the number of commands view. And the command line interface has multiple command views, of which common views have been introduced in the example. So each command is registered to run in one or more command views, and such commands can run only after entering the appropriate view. सेम एग्जांपल कि आप लोग इंटरफेस ओपन नहीं कर सकते इन द केस ऑफ यूजर व्यू बिफोर using interface gigabit you have to enter the system view. You cannot assign protocol in the case of system view. You have to enter the interface view, then you assign protocol to the particular device. So next is CLI functions. So CLI functions so this is an example that is demonstrating a selection of the common system that define the shortcut keys that are widely used to simplify the navigation process within the VRP command line interface. So this is the additional commands are the followers. Suppose we are talking about the control A. So control A, that means we are move the cursor to the beginning of the current line. Control C, that stop performing current function. Control Z, that return to the user view. System view to user view, when we are go back to the system view to user view, and that time we use control Z. Then control plus close bracket, that stops the incoming connection or redirecting the connection. So we are having more CLI command functions. Control B. Just wait 1 minute. I'm going to use it whiteboard, and I write all the different commands for CLI functions. Just wait for 1 minute. So now I'm going to tell the different CLI based command functions. So next one is control B. Control B, that means we are that moves the cursor from back one character. So next is control plus D. So control plus D, that means delete the character where the cursor is located. So next is control plus D. That means move the cursor to the end of the current line. So next is control plus F. Control plus F, that means move the cursor forward one character. Forward one character. So next is control plus H. Control plus H, that deletes the character on the left side of the cursor. Next is control plus N. Control plus N, that means display the next command in the history command line. Next is control plus B. Control plus B, that means display the previous command in the historical command, that is in the case of buffering. So next is control plus W. Control plus W, that means delete the word on the left side of the cursor. Next is control plus X. Control plus X, that means delete all the character on the left side of the cursor. Left side of the cursor. Next is control plus Y. Control plus Y, that delete all the character on the right side of the cursor. Then next is escape plus B. Escape plus B, that moves the cursor one word back. Move the cursor one word back. So next is escape plus D. So escape plus D, that delete the word on the right side of the cursor. Then escape plus F. Escape plus F, that means we are talking about the move the cursor forward one word. So these all are the, you can say that, CLI based shortcut keys. These all are the shortcut keys for the command line interface. So wait. I am going to launch the second poll question. Again, it's based upon quite theory part. You will get only 1.5 minutes maximum. I'm going to launch the poll. Is this poll question is visible to all? It's a basic question for related to the network. Now I'm going to end the poll. So I'm going to share the poll. So question is, according to OSA reference model, which layer is responsible for end-to-end error checking and flow control? Vedant, 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 just unmute करो.
Yes, sir.
And what will be the answer for this question?
Sir, transport layer.
Correct है. और बाकी लोग जिन्होंने अटेम्प्ट किया है फिजिकल लेयर, डेटा लिंक लेयर, नेटवर्क लेयर, इस हिसाब से बेटा पास होना मुश्किल हो जाएगा फाइनल पर. अभी मैंने टिपिकल क्वेश्चंस नहीं आपको डाले. तो नेक्स्ट लेक्चर टू ऑनवर्ड जैसे आपके फाइनल पेपर के क्वेश्चंस होंगे वैसे ही होंगे. और नेक्स्ट वीक तो नहीं, चलो नेक्स्ट वीक किसी भी दिन आपको मैं मैसेज डाल दूंगा कि विद इन 2 दिन प्रायर या 3 दिन प्रायर आपका एक मॉक टेस्ट होगा. सो मॉक टेस्ट इज बेस्ड अपॉन यूर जो आप लोगों ने अभी तक टॉपिक पढ़ लें उनके ऊपर. आई एम गोइंग टू स्टॉप रिजल्ट शेयरिंग. बेसिक क्वेश्चन है, स्टिल उसमें आप इतनी गलतियां कर रहे हो, जल्दबाजी कर रहे हो. जल्दबाजी और जल्दी ना करो. So next is CLI functions. So CLI, the additional keys functions can be used to perform similar operations. The backspace operations has the same behavior as using Control H to delete the character to the left of the cursor. Then the left and right arrows, cursors, the keys can be used to perform the same operation as the Control plus B and Control plus F shortcut keys functions. So the down cursor, that key function, the same as the Control plus N, and the upper key arrow that act as an alternative of Control P operations. So next is CLI help features. So CLI help features, now there are some help menus when we are talking about the partially help or complete help. So if you want, if you know the first letter of the command, if you know simply first letter of the command, then and it will show the list of the command that starts from first letter. In the given example, if I am writing D plus question mark, then I will get all the commands that starts from D, that is partially held. Okay, and second is complete help. Complete help means when we are typing complete display plus question mark, then we will get the all information about the display command. So that is a function for partial help or complete help. So basically these are the two forms of help feature that can be found within the BRP. So these come in the form of partial help and complete help functions. So when we are entering the single string and directly apply the question mark, we will get commands that starts from D. When we are applying a display complete word plus question mark, from that time we will get the complete working of the display command. So next is CLI basic device. So CLI basic device, that means for the majority of industries, it is likely that multiple devices will be exist. So each of which need to be managed as such. One of the first important tasks to device commencing involves setting device name to uniquely system each device is the network. So the system name parameter of when we are talking about the system name parameter, if we are using the router AR suppose 2200, that means we must assign the router name as a AR 2200. If we are if we are talking about the switch, whenever we are using switch, what type of switch you use? So you just write the name of the switch same as it is the configuration of the switch. So system name is first step to assign the system. So we cannot use or we cannot assign in a system name in a user view. We have to first enter in system view with the type of same command system hyphen view, then press enter key. You will enter into the system view, then you assign the name of the system. And how we can assign the system name? Just type sys name, that means system name space RTA, where RTA, that stand is router A. Okay, then if you press enter key in this case, then you are entered in the router A. So in a router A, if you want to assign the IP address to the router A, then you assign the IP address in this this example. First, you are in user view. You cannot edit or you cannot change the name. Then after username, you enter the system view. System view, just type a command system hyphen view, then press enter key. You will enter the system view. Then type sys name space, whether you are using switch or whether you are using router. If you are using router, you just write the RTA. If you are having multiple router, you just assign the RTA, RTB, RTC. If you want to assign a server to a particular system, and just system name is system name space server A, server B. So next is CLI clock settings. So the system clock that reflect the system timestamp, and it is able to configure to we can say that with the help of rules that is given in the particular region. So the system clock must be correctly set as ensure synchronized with other devices and is calculated using the formula. So calculating using the formula, that is UTC. Okay, Can anybody tell me what is the full form of UTC? Anyone? Sachin. Sachin 349.
यूजर डेटाग्राम प्रोटोकॉल.
No, we are पर तो लो करके रहे हैं. We are assigning time to clock check कर रहे हैं हम लोग. That means clock का कुछ होगा.
हेलो
वो UTP नहीं है, वो UDP है, यूजर डेटाग्राम प्रोटोकॉल.
हेलो
कौन है भाई?
उज्जवल सर.
जी उज्जवल.
सर कोऑर्डिनेटेड यूनिवर्सल टाइम.
ठीक है, वो तो ठीक. UTC stands for आपका है कोऑर्डिनेटेड यूनिवर्सल टाइम. अब इसके साथ में क्या आएगा? प्लस टाइम जोन. ठीक है, टाइम जोन then plus daylight saying time offsets. The clock determine command is used to set the system clock following the you can say that HHH, hour, minute, second, then year, hour, minute, seconds, then year, then month, then date formula. So it should be noted, however, that if the time zone has not been configured or it is 0, so that date and time set are considered to be UTC. So next is CLI header message. So when we are talking about the CLI header message, so the header command that provide a means for displaying notification during the connection of the device. So the login header that indicates a header that is displayed when the terminal connection is activated and the user is being authenticated by the device. So the shell header indicates a header that is displayed when the session is set up. And after user logs into the device, the header information can be applied either as a text string or retrieve the specified file. Where a text string is used, a start and end character must be defined as a mark to identify the information string. So where in the example of character that define the information string, the string represents the value of range of 1 to 2000 characters. So that is the range for the characters. Okay, we are talking about the CLI header message. So in the case of file-based header, the format header that is based upon the header login and header shell. So header login that sets the header that is displayed on a terminal when a user is authenticated by the device. When we are talking about the header shell, that means set the header that is displayed on the terminal after the user logs into the device. So next is CLI command levels. So CLI command levels, that means each user interface is represented by the user interface view, or we can say that command line view provided by the systems. So the command line view is used to configure and manage all the physical and logical interface in asynchronous mode. So users wishing to interface with a device will be required to specify certain parameters in order to allow a user interface to become accessible. So there are two common forms of user interface that is implemented are the console interface and VTY interface, that is virtual teletype terminals interface. I'm going to write the whole which type of two type of interface. One is these are the two type of console interface. The first one is console interface, and the second one is the virtual type terminal interface. So they all are having different values. Both are having different value based configuration. So value that is depends from 0 to 1. Now I'm going to tell you what value is for 0 and what is the meaning for 1. So when we are talking about the user level, when we are talking about the user level, that is we are having value from 0 to 15. Command level, that means we are having value from 0 to 3. So user level, that is mapped with the command line level. So when we are talking about 0, 1, 3 to 15 is say command line. Command line that is 0 is 0, 0 and 1 is 2, 0 and 1. And thing that means full privileges. So that means we are assigning the privileges to the particular system. 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, that means we are having 0 value and 0, 1 value in the case of command line. So 0, the value user level 0 and command level 0, that means we are visiting level. And the value in the case of 0 and 1, that means we are monitoring, we are in the monitor level. Monitor level, that is we can display the command. We can display the command when we are using the command line 0 and 1. When we are in user level 2 and command level 0, 1 and 2, it means we are configuring level. Configurable level means we are configuring level as well as display anything, or we can manage any kind of files. And when we are using user level 3 to 15 or 0, 1, 2, 3, that means we are having management level. So when management level, that means we can format the hard disk, we can change the command line privileges, move the directory, delete the directory. That means we are having full permission. That means full access, or we can say that full privileges to add, delete, change the directory. So these all are the command line. You can say that command line levels. So next is CLI user interface. So now what interface we have, that means we are having two way of logging users, system, user system and device. So console port, that is when we are talking about the console port, that means we are using the physical port which is available on the device. So only the interface zero, that means we are talking about the serial cable. And when we are using serial cable to connecting to system, that means on that time we have to use the RJ45 connectors. So this is a local login. So another is BTY, that is for especially for remote login. Remote logging, that means we are talking about the telnet device. So there are by default 5 interface connected. So when we are talking, write the command user hyphen interface VT via 0/4, that means we are assigning default 5 interface to the connections. So in this case, each user interface is represented by the user interface view or command line view that provided by the system. That command line view is used to configure and manage all the physical and logical interfacing in asynchronous mode. So next is CLI terminal attributes. So these are the options for CLI terminal attributes. For both the console and VTY terminal interface, that certain attributes can be applied to modify the behavior as a means of extending features and improving security. So if a user allow a connection to remain idle for a given period of a time present, a security risk to the system. Because whenever we are leave our system ideal, so that means we are lacking the security of the system. So the system will for the time period, wait for the time period before automatically terminating the connection. So this ideal timeout period on the user interface is set to the 10 minute by default. But we can change this time period. So when it may be necessary to increase or reduce the number of lines display on the screen of the terminal when using the display command. For the example, the screen length. Screen length command can be applied. This by default is set to 24. However, is capable of being increased to the maximum of 512 lines. 512 lines. A screen length of 0, however, is not recommended since no output will be displayed. So in the case of ideal timeout, that means we have to set the time duration of the user connection. In the screen length, that means we set the number of lines display of each terminal screen after a command is executed. So by default in this case is 24, but we can extend the number of lines up to 512 lines. So for each command, that is user record is stored in the history command buffer. Which command can be retrieved through navigation using upper key control P or lower key control N key functions. So the number of recorded command in the history command buffer, it can be increased using the history command. So max size command to reduce up to 256 stored commands. So the number of commands stored by default is 10. So this is the history command max size. So max size of the command is stored is a 256 stored command. The number of commands stored by default is 10. So next is CLI interface permissions. It means we are assigning privileges to the particular system. So accessing to user terminal interface that provide a clear point of entry for unauthorized user to access a device and implemented configuration changes. So as such, the capability to restrict access and limit what action can be performed is necessary as a means of device security. So the configuration of user privileges, the authentication are two means by which terminal security can be improved. So user privilege allow a user level to the defined which restrict the capacity or capability of the user to the specified command. So the user level can be valued in the range from 0 to 15, where the value represent visit 0, monitoring level 1, configuration level 2, and the management level is 3. So authentication restricts a user capability to access a terminal interface by requesting the user it be authenticated using a password or a combination of username and password before accessing via the user interface is granted. So it's a simple example. When we are using a Gmail account, we have to enter a Gmail ID as well as the password of the particular email address. So in case of VDY connection, all user must be authenticated before accessing the possible. For all users, three possible authentication mode exist in the form of AAA. AAA password that authentication and non-authentication. So AAA user provide the high security for which a username and password must be entered. Can anybody tell me what is AAA security? Vivek, शुभम, ये लोग एब्सेंट है अगर आप लोग नहीं बोलोगे तो. Riddhima, what does it mean AAA?
Hello,
हाँ जी रिद्धिमा, AAA stands for
sir. Authentication, authorization, third नहीं सर पता.
third is
ये दो तो मैंने गेस कर लिए कि ऑथोराइज्ड होना चाहिए, ऑथेंटिकेट होना चाहिए.
ठीक है. Jovan,
Sir, authentication, authorization, and accounting.
ठीक है. Sagar,
And availability, sir.
it's not availability. Rohit,
accuracy,
अभी बोला भी था उसने. उज्जवल?
सर ऑथेंटिकेशन, ऑथराइजेशन एंड अकाउंटिंग ही होगा।
ऑथेंटिकेशन, ऑथराइजेशन एंड अकाउंटिंग,
यस सर।
ये हम अप्लाई करेंगे। जितनी भी टर्म्स अब अभी आप CLI मोड में देख रहे हो ना, ये सारी हमने प्रैक्टिकली परफॉर्म करनी है। वी हैव टू असाइन अ पासवर्ड टू दी पर्टिकुलर डिवाइस, क्योंकि आप घर पे भी स्विच यूज़ कर रहे हो या राउटर को यूज़ कर रहे हो, आपने उस पर भी पासवर्ड लगाया हुआ है। बट हाउ वी कैन असाइन दी पासवर्ड टू दी switch with the help of CLI mode? So these are the method to assign the privileges to the network, to assign the authentication to the network. So AAA is a process to assign the high security or high privileges to the network. So now I am going to go next question. It is quite tricky. It's not an easy question. Just I'm going to launch the question. Before attempting, must read the question. Host A is configured with an IP address this. If host B also configured the IP address as this, an IP address conflict will occur. What will happen as a result? Both host A and host B, they are having same IP address. Same IP address. उस केस में what will happen? ये टॉपिक हमने ऑलरेडी पढ़ा हुआ है। ऐसे ही क्वेश्चंस आपको फाइनल पेपर में मिलेंगे। Are you guys? Last 30 seconds. Within 30 seconds मैंने ये पोल बंद कर देंगे। तो अटेंडेंस टोटली बेस्ड अपॉन आ पोल क्वेश्चंस जिन लोगों ने अटेम्प्ट किए, जिन लोगों ने ठीक अटेम्प्ट किए, गलत की मैंने एब्सेंट लगा देनी अगर गलत अटेम्प्ट किया। I am going to end the poll. Before showing the result, Sudhanshu, unmute करो।
हेलो
सुधांशु, क्या आंसर है?
हेलो
सुधांशु बोलो बेटा।
हेलो यस सर।
बोलो क्या आंसर है इसका?
मुझे ए लग रहा है।
क्वेश्चन समझ आया? क्वेश्चन समझ आया कि नहीं आया?
आया था क्वेश्चन समझ।
क्या समझ आया था? क्वेश्चन समझा दो, आंसर मैं किसी और से पूछता हूँ। क्वेश्चन समझाओ मेरे को। यस शिवम।
सर दो यूजर्स एक ही आईपी पे अटैच है तो वो आईपी कॉन्फ़िगर किसे कहते हैं? सिंपल ये है।
सिंपल है और आंसर क्या है सिंपल?
सर इसका फर्स्ट ऑप्शन लग रही है क्योंकि जब आईपी एड्रेस कंप्लीट कर रहे हैं वैसे होता है कई बार क्योंकि लैंड सर्वर्स भी होता है तो मैक एड्रेस के हिसाब से फिर आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं मेरे हिसाब से अभी।
थोड़ा सा गलत हो गया हिसाब, किसी और से पूछते हैं।
यस सर।
गलत हो गया तेरा हिसाब थोड़ा सा ना।
ओ
ये बातें भी क्लियर करते हैं इसको। सुखमिंदर पाल कौर।
यस सर।
क्या आंसर किया है कि नहीं टिक किया?
सर मेरे हिसाब से तो सेकंड ऑप्शन थी, वो एआरपी रिक्वेस्ट भेजेगा।
भेजेगा कौन
होस्ट ए।
एआरपी रिक्वेस्ट? होस्ट ए भेजेगा या होस्ट बी भेजेगा? बिकॉज सेकंड एंड थर्ड ऑप्शन आर ऑलमोस्ट सेम. Second option says host A will send the gratitude ARP and host B send the gratitude ARP. तो तुम्हारे हिसाब से सुखविंदर है? सुखविंदर तुम्हारे हिसाब से बी है?
ओके
तुम्हारे हिसाब से ना? स्टिल आंसर इज रॉन्ग।
सर सेकंड ऑप्शन मेरे हिसाब से है।
वही बोल रहा हूँ, तुम्हारे हिसाब से बी है बट स्टिल आंसर इज इनकरेक्ट.
ओके सर।
गगनदीप कौर.
यस सर।
What will be the answer?
सर मुझे भी कंफ्यूजन थी सेकंड और थर्ड में.
किस पे क्लिक किया?
सर हुआ नहीं क्लिक, वह पहले ही पोल खत्म हो गई.
10-10 मिनट थोड़ी ना देने पोल में आपको. आप लोग फोन गायब करके इधर भाग जाते हैं. तुम्हें सेकंड और थर्ड में लग रहा है. चलो वो बातें भी देखते हैं. रजत.
यस सर.
क्या है आंसर?
सर मुझे सी लगा.
सी लग रहा है. क्यों?
सर वैसे तो होता था कि दोनों अगर सेम आईपी एड्रेस में तो नेटवर्क जाता नहीं है, तो ऑप्शन के हिसाब से था कि जो सेकंड आएगा वो मतलब एआरपी भेजेगा और रिप्लाई देगा ए वाला कुछ ऐसा.
चलो एग्जैक्ट आंसर इज, करेक्ट आंसर इज सी. Why C? Because host B वो आपको gratitude मैसेज सेंड करेगा. Gratitude ARP, that means we are talking about or we are finding the duplicacy of the IP. कि कहीं नेटवर्क में कोई डुप्लीकेट IP तो नहीं है. So in this case, host B they will first send the gratitude ARP, then request to the solve the MAC address of the this IP address, जो given IP address. कहाँ पे? For which the host A will reply कि मेरे पास ऑलरेडी ये IP address है. जब भी आप ऑलरेडी आईपी एक असाइन करते हो तो सेकंड आईपी जब किसी को असाइन होता है, दे विल ब्रॉडकास्ट द आईपी एड्रेस मींस ग्रेटिट्यूड एआरपी. होस्ट बी will send the gratitude ARP request to resolve the MAC address of the destination this IP address. Okay, this is my MAC address and now I am going to assign this IP address. Is it the IP address is already exist in the network or not? Then those system who are having the same IP address, like इस केस में तो आपके पास होस्ट ए ही है, then host A will reply I am having this IP address. So that is the basic purpose of gratitude ARP. Now I am going to show the result. ये रिजल्ट है आपके सामने. मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स दे आर अटेम्प्टिंग होस्ट मतलब ऑप्शन ए एंड ऑप्शन बी. ऑप्शन सी भी है इसमें, तो कुछ ऑप्शन सी वाली बात ही नहीं है. I'm going to stop sharing the result. I'm going to continue. So next is configuration part of the CLI mode. So in this case, we are assigning the IP address to the particular device. IP address to the particular device. That means first from user view to system view to interface view, then interface view to particular device. Here we are assigning the IP address to the particular device. IP address as well as the subnet address of the system. इसको भी आपने IP assign करना है. Yes, Ritvik. Ritvik, any
हेलो
doubt? Yes, Ritvik, doubt है नहीं?
सर वो पोल वाला बताना है एक बार फिर से.
पोल वाला क्वेश्चन.
हाँ सी क्यों है उसका?
सी क्यों और देखो ना. एक सिस्टम के पास ऑलरेडी IP एड्रेस है.
ठीक है.
सेकेंड सिस्टम IP एड्रेस असाइन करने लगा है, तो ग्रेटिट्यूड ARP है जो, वो फर्स्ट चेक करेगा ब्रॉडकास्ट करके कि ये वाला मेरा मैक एड्रेस है और ये मैं IP एड्रेस असाइन करने लगा हूँ. ऑलरेडी किसी के पास है तो नहीं. अब ए के पास ऑलरेडी था, तो ए ने रिप्लाई बैक कर दिया कि मेरे पास ऑलरेडी है.
अच्छा 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 ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है ठीक है.
ठीक है. So user view to system view to interface view, then interface view. This is a particular interface where we are assigning the IP address. So IP address कैसे assign होगा? IP address space IP address of the device जो आप assign करना चाहते हो, then the subnet mask for the particular device. So this is a way to assign the IP address to the network. So next is question that is based upon this topic. Then who will tell me questions? How many users are able to connect via the console interface at any given time? Richa, unmute करो Richa. जिसको आता है वो बस रेज और हैंड भी कर सकता है, रेज हैंड कर सकता है अगर किसी को आता है तो. प्रभनूर, any idea about the first question? How many users are able to connect via the console interface at any given time?
नहीं पता सर.
The answer is 1. So at a time only one user can connect the via console interface. So what about the second question? What is the state of the loopback interface 0 when the command interface loopback 0 is used? Santosh, Santosh unmute करो.
Yes sir.
So इसका आंसर होगा what is the state of the loopback interface 0 when the command interface loopback 0 is used?
It false होगा sir.
So the correct answer is up view. When we are talking about the state loopback interface 0, that means when a command interface loopback 0 is used, that means we are talking about the up view. So this is all about the topic. Any doubt, just raise your hand. Any doubt? That means there is no doubt. Okay, now I'm going to start sharing the screen.